Here's my review of Daredevil Born Again, episode 4. I thought that this was a very good episode. And really, what made this episode good, I think, is just what makes the original show so good. And that's just the dialogue, and more specifically, the dialogue between Matt and Frank. Seeing Frank back after like so many years, like it's really like his show I think ended in 2019, and him and Matt haven't seen each other since the end of season 2, which was like what, 2017 earlier. It was just great, and just that whole just dialogue exchange where Frank is talking about, of course, Frankie talks about like loss of his family, and he talks about the corrupt cops using his symbol. All of that's just so fascinating that I just found to be just great, and that's what makes these characters just so compelling. Just the amount of pain that they have, and Charlie Cox is so good, especially in this episode. He is great here. Another thing I found really fascinating too, and just really enjoyable, is just seeing Fisk continue like his mayoral, like not campaign because he already won, but just seeing his mayoral career, just what he's doing, like him like kind of more diving into like zoning architecture type stuff. I found that stuff to be fascinating, and like his little like this guy, the guy who's working with him is just really interesting too. I really like him too. And once again, just seeing more of Vanessa and Wilson in therapy, it's just fascinating. Like that's what makes this show so good as well as the original. Is just the characters are just so complex and just fascinating, where you want to learn more about them, and that's what just makes this show so good. At least I think it's pretty. I know some people are kind of divided on it. I think it's good. It's not as good as the original show, but I think it's pretty good so far. Also, seeing like how at the end, like the whole end of this episode was just wow. Like we see that Wilson kidnapped somebody, and that somebody, and we see how Wilson kidnapped Adam, who was Vanessa's former lover, when Wilson was gone. It's just like, they're like, wow, that's just terrible. And also just this whole ending just kind of keeps getting worse and worse. Better. Like it's a good ending, what I'm saying, just darker and darker. With us finally seeing a really good look at Muse, and his design is just awesome. I really liked him here. I thought he was awesome. This design was great as he just kidnaps another person, and we're definitely just diving more in to just how sick and twisted this guy is. Seeing him drag the body back to like his lair, it just makes me like, I want to know more about this character. Like his design is so cool, and like we know like he's been doing this like artwork around the city, but it's like I want to just see like what is this guy actually like. And it just ends on such a horrific way. Like we literally see him draining this guy's blood as he's going to use it for more of his artwork, and it's just like wow. Like I said, where this show really shines is just in its character work. Just seeing Wilson and Vanessa just in like these therapy sessions is just so fascinating, at least to me. And just everything between Frank and Matt is, like I said, it's fascinating. It's engaging. I like seeing these characters and seeing their philosophical perspectives, seeing Frank's perspective of why he does what he does, as well as Matt. But like I said, if I only have really like a main complaint with the show, is just the lack of like Karen and Foggy. It's just like it's felt, even though I do think that these other characters are pretty good. So yeah, I thought that this was another very solid episode, and it does what I think a good show does, and I think that it just makes me more excited to see the next episode. I thought it was a pretty solid episode. It was very good, and just like I said, just that whole scene, like whenever Matt and Frank are just talking to each other, was just great.